Pakistan for the ICC Women's Cricket World Cup qualifier there. What a tournament that was. An intense and short one, to say the least, wasn't it? Very high stakes, very highly charged cricket. Scotland, you gave a hell of a rattle and pushed one of those 2 qualification spots ever so close. What are your reflections on the campaign now, sort of 4 to 6 weeks on?
It was a really good campaign, actually. I think I didn't expect to be really disappointed not to qualify by the end. But I think just the way that we played, especially in those first 2 games against West Indies, Pakistan, and then, as you kind of said, at the end of the qualifier, it was just so intense and so hard. We kind of struggled to keep going, but then played really well against Ireland again the last day. It was just really, really encouraging.
There were some amazing team and indeed particularly some amazing individual performances for Scotland. There's that short and hammered away trademark Barrington. Second time he's got a hold of a short one from Lamachani. Craig, you'll have played a lot of cricket with Richie Barrington. How easy does he make a shot like this look?
Yeah, his footwork against spin in particular is outstanding.
Just gets into position so easily that, like, if there was a 2-second clip of Barrington, that would be his homily, wouldn't it? It's exactly how he plays. He picks up length so well. The second time Lamachani's been dispatched for a maximum. Can you tell people just how different the conditions there in Lahore were? I was obviously there on commentary. We were finding it tough just commentating in the heat. It was 40 degrees, there was a humidity, there's air pollution there. And now he laces one through the covers. Barrington taking Lamachani apart here, overpitched and punished. How good a shot is this?
Yeah, that is Richie to a T, really. Slightly short, gets back and hammers him over a cow, and then gets slightly full again and gets on the front foot and hammers it as well. So, excellent batting by Richie.
Oh, trademark Barrington. He's so good to watch, isn't he? We were just talking before you came on air, Craig, about how I think everyone in Scottish cricket never wants to see him retire. He's just going to have to keep going, isn't he?
Yeah, I met him for dinner on Wednesday, actually, and didn't ask the question, but he seems really still full of life, really enjoying it, so I can't see it happening anytime soon, hopefully not anyway.
And the body is somehow clinging together still, just about.
Somehow.
So yeah, tell us about those conditions in Lahore. The heat was oppressive, to say the least.
Yeah, no, it was really hot, but I suppose since I've been involved, basically every tournament we play seems to be in really hot conditions and in the subcontinent, so we were borderline used to it. So it was really hot, wickets turning and a little bit flatter, but
beats the drive of Tier, rounds out a 12-run over. Rohit Powell's going to have to think to what to do with Sandeep Lamachani. 18 have been bowled, 95 for 2. Yeah, the previous qualifier was in the UAE in extreme heat, so yeah. I guess maybe have your team maybe got a little bit used to it?
I think so, yeah. Qualifier and then the World Cup in the UAE when it was really, really hot, probably hotter than Pakistan. So we actually went into that tournament, I wouldn't say confident, but we knew that we could play in hot conditions. So that's what we've done for the last kind of 6 to 9 months, especially more than some of the other teams. And probably the only thing different was the hotel life, staying in the same hotel, the food, and kind of getting into the culture was probably very different for us. Really enjoyable as well. Like we tried to see the country as much as we can when allowed, so it was really good. But I think there was definitely a lot of illness and sickness in and around the whole tournament, which was very hard to deal with too.
I could vouch for that. I can promise you. I think almost everyone there at some point right towards the end fell foul of it. I had a horrible 5 or 6 days right after. Now chance, massive appeal. It's Dipendra Singh Iree, and this is going to make for an interesting replay. He does everything super quick, doesn't he? He was convinced. The perfect throw for the keeper. This is going to be so tight. Tier had to get a move on. You just don't run singles to Dipendra Singh Iree, do you?
No, not at all. They were very fast in the run.
I think this is going to be close. On the frame. We might get one more look at that slow motion after this ball. I think probably a fair decision from the umpire. We don't have the third umpire and the ability for line decisions to be used like we actually had in Pakistan. So you couldn't really give that out on first viewing, could you?
No, you can't give that out. But yeah, very, very close though.
We'll get one more look after this ball. Phenomenal fielding. He's as good as there is, isn't he, in the world game, Depender Singh Airi. Don't think they'll be taking one to him this time. He just kind of runs around it and says, go on, goading the two batters. Here's another look. Yeah, I think even if the freeze frame shows that this would have been out, look at the throwing technique. Surprised the dive didn't come out from Charlie Tier. Oh, really close.
The keeper drops the ball there, I think.
Keeper might have dropped the ball as well. So ultimately, definitely the right decision from umpire Ghazi Sohail. So 2 deliveries left in this over. Great to have the Scottish women's head coach alongside me. It's Craig Wallace, former Scotland men's international, of course, as well. It swept around the corner. Great wrist work. Charlie Tier's been so impressive here. You loved a sweep shot, didn't you? How do you play a stroke like that to the left arm spinner?
Yeah, no, I did. I did love a sweep. I tried not to play it left arm spin. To be fair, I wasn't good enough to play it against them. I kept missing and getting out. But yeah, Charlie's just got really low there. Really used his wrist, as you said, to get the ball behind square in particular to get that boundary.
Great manipulation of the angle, wasn't it, to get it around the corner and find that gap. The man out, he's just come a little bit finer now, hasn't he? The man at deep backward square. He's probably more of a deep mid wicket the ball before. Good finish from Raj Banshi, but it will be 6 runs from the 19th over. The hundreds come up. It's 101 for 2. So let's keep talking about the women's qualifier. You really ran it close, didn't you? Like, I know you look at the table at the end, you say, okay, well, you won 2 from 5. Which of the games kind of frustrated you the most? You had a marvellous win on the opening day of the tournament over the West Indies by 11 runs, but I wasn't on call for it. You might look at the Pakistan scorecard and think you lost reasonably comfortably, but was it 5 drop catches in that game?
Yeah, no, the Pakistan game is definitely the one that we look back on. That was definitely an opportunity that we had. I think we had the left-handed batter drop twice on 20, and she went on to make 60, 70.
Well bowled by Lamachani. That's Munib Ali, wasn't it? She made 71 that day.
Munib, yeah. And that was actually a time in the game we had built loads of pressure, bowling really well, and unfortunately those 2 chances went down, and then they kicked on a wee bit, and again towards the end as well had good chances and just couldn't quite get over the line, but again just played really well. It was just a really good performance which gave us really good confidence.
Good challenging, probing line from Lamachani. He's causing a lot more problems to Charlie Tier than Richie Berrington, isn't he? Kick of the turf and frustration this time. All that variety and mystery of Lamachani. Really, really interesting to watch him, and fascinating to see Rohit Powell stuck with him. You might have thought after Berrington started to get after Lamachani that he might just have said, okay, we'll give him a rest and bring him back if we can get Berrington out. Again short, again helped away. Berrington is taking a liking to Lamachani. Being honest, Craig Wallace, he's taking him apart right now.
Yeah, he's definitely put him under pressure, and again that was a bad ball by Lamachani, just slightly down leg, which Berrington swept away.
He's a good player of spin, isn't he, Richie Berrington? He does favour the leg side, but he can go inside out over cover. He drives elegantly too. He must be a difficult batter to bowl to. The Nepal fans are trying to get their star man going. Real drift on offer, isn't there? Curves out of the hand. Berrington happy to work it for a single, doesn't want the second. What about that Ireland game in the last game? Being honest, you should have won, shouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, should have won. But just an amazing game of cricket as well. I think probably the most annoying thing about the whole qualifiers was every single game that we played game, and I think for the World Cup to just be an 8-team team missing out, like the world missing out on watching these games is a real shame, because everyone was such a similar standard to each other. The brand of cricket everyone was playing was really good, and it's just a shame that only 2 went through, and it's
Hello guys, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment.
Especially when even that World Cup, if everything is as it is at the moment, probably India, England, Australia will just dominate, and the other 5 teams will be thereabouts. South Africa obviously a bit stronger, and West Indies as well, but it's not.
Oh, West Indies aren't there.
West Indies aren't there, of course.
They
they're
haven't
not.
qualified.
Jesus, yeah, that's insane, isn't it? When you think about it.
So the gulf, there's obviously, it's always difficult and with the levels of funding and fixtures that the associates get to play, let alone the lesser full members. What's the solution to the gulf that we're seeing in the women's game? Because the top levels of it, with the Women's Premier League having come in and you know, plenty of different players from different countries getting exposure, and that the standard seems to me to have never been higher by quite a distance.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a big gulf, isn't there? England, Australia and India's women's sides are by quite a distance the best 3 teams in the world. It was fantastic to see the last T20 World Cup go New Zealand's way, but yeah, how do you address that gulf without, I suppose, getting too political, but just trying to get an understanding of what's the way forward for the women's game?
Yeah, no, I don't know. To be fair, we're probably doing South Africa and Justin's fair. They've actually been quite a lot of finals recently and done pretty well. But the honest answer is I'm not sure. Obviously, one is fixtures and more games. But apart from that, the way that it works at the moment in terms of all the funding going to mainly those 3 countries, and I just don't see it ever improving the way the format and the programs work as it stands, coming from the ICC from the top and all the way down to the bottom. I think teams will always compete, like West Indies and etc., but not consistently. I think it'll be very. Oh, where's Charlie goes this week?
Big appeal, but no interest from the umpire. Raj Banchi in particular was interested, wasn't he? He's wondering where it's missing. If you do miss a sweep, you can get yourself in trouble. Let's get a look. Charlie Tier. Ooh, now. That looked close to me, Craig Wallace. If you'd missed that sweep, would you have looked up with a bit of fear at the umpire?
Yeah, I think I would have been. That's why I think sweeping left arm spin is always a risk. You can always get 4 runs and there's spaces there, but
that looks really close.
हेलो गाइज, तपाईहरु चाहिँ नेपाल भर्सेस स्कटल्यान्डको लाइभ हेर्न चाहनुहुन्छ भने क्रोममा गएर आइसिसी टिभी सर्च गर्नु होला। त्यसमा गएर तपाईहरुले हेर्न सक्नुहुन्छ।
Cup, you automatically go to the global qualifier. So the women's sub-regional that we saw last month in Italy, that leads to the ICC Women's T20 World Cup Europe qualifier that'll be taking place in the Netherlands. I think it's in August, isn't it? Later in the year, at the VOC grounds in Rotterdam. That will force Ireland to have to go through that stage because they didn't get to the last World Cup. So there's a meritocracy there, but in this particular case, as Roa Powdell feels well, that meritocracy has meant that you're getting not the opportunity to go and play at that qualifier this summer, and then you're in the surreal position whereby, despite running an 8-team World Cup qualification in 50 over, really close as Iree gets one to just bite and turn a little, they were your only fixtures for the year, and then there simply isn't the funding or the money right now. All of the leading associates are doing things on a threadbare, let alone the associates lower down who receive even less funding. And you've got a situation where an ICC Women's Cricket World Cup qualifier and the team of the tournament, captained by Scotland's Catherine Bryce. I was part of the commentary panel that selected that team, and that was a unanimous decision. Is this an appeal? Is this an edge? No, again, says umpire Ghazi. I think he might have hit his pad here, Craig. Don't think, I did hear something, but not an indication it's an edge, and that's what the umpire is saying. Is the decision right? Let's get a look. Yeah, he's hit the back flap of his pad. Great decision. That's not easy.
Yeah, excellent decision there. Another good ball again, though.
So we unanimously decided that Catherine Bryce should be the captain of the team of the tournament. Catherine Fraser's in the 11 as well. Again, that was unanimous. And you've ended up in a position where you've got no games now. So you've almost been a victim of your own success. You'll have to go to the global qualifier. Do you know when that will be yet? Early next year?
January is the rumours, yeah.
Okay. So I presume Stephen Snell is going to try and get you some sort of preparatory tour at least for that, and then off to the qualifier for a highly pressured situation again.
Yeah. No, I think that article, especially just the title of it, just sums everything up. Yeah, just generally, but obviously the best year the women's team have ever had, and obviously delighted to be a part of that. And then it had those qualifiers, which again, generally I don't think we've ever played better. And now, literally nothing until potentially the next qualifier, and it's lucky that we're hopefully still good.
And there was, I believe, with both Pakistan are coming to play Ireland, aren't they? And I think that's in August for some T20s. We've seen West Indies women here. They've been, being honest, taking a bit of a hammering by England over the both formats, despite Hayley Matthews continuing to show that she's one of the very best players in the world. But there just wasn't the ability to find a way to get games against either of them. Swept around the corner. There's protection there. Lamachani does well. Are you almost calling for a benefactor, or how could it change without? Because certainly for the moment, with the things working in 4 and then 8 year cycles for the ICC, the funding model is not going to change overnight. There has been lots of talk about it, and I think lots of openness. Oh, Bolden and Rajbanshi has Charlie Tier just been getting caught a little bit over the last few minutes. It's rare you'll keep Rajbanshi out of the game, and all of their spin bowling options have worked together to build up that breakthrough. They desperately needed it, Nepal. That third wicket partnership was continuing to build. Beautiful piece of bowling, Craig.
Yeah, no, actually just watching the replay now.
Drift. It's drift.
Yeah.
It's a classic left arm spinner's dismissal, isn't it?
विकेट जान सफल भएको छ.
These wickets, generally, if they're fresher, do tend to skid on with the spin.
Well, a wonderful knock. It's another 50 for Charlie Tier. His time will come for the big century. It'll bring Finlay McCreath to the crease. Score now 119 for 3. On the positive side, I don't want to linger too much on the negative side. I think everyone's acutely aware of where things are at. We empathise with you. I think anyone who, like me, wants and advocates for the game to grow. We've seen MCC World Cricket Connects this weekend, and some of the greatest minds in the game coming together, and I was lucky to be down there yesterday, and I think there's a real feeling that things do need to change. So hopefully that change will come sooner rather than later for you and your fine young team. On the positive side, there is an expansion for the T20 World Cup to 12 teams. So okay, you're not going to have many games in your home summer. No games as of right now. to build up to it. But surely that expansion to 12 teams, that gives you a real... You qualified the last time for a 10-team World Cup. There'll be a pressured situation, all these qualifiers are, but that's got to be absolutely the goal for January.
Oh, no, absolutely. We would definitely be wanting to qualify. I think we are fortunate. The ICC are definitely in talks of putting on an emerging trophy T20 tournament in November for all the associates, which will be excellent. That'll be really good prep for us.
Would that be in the T20 format then?
T20, yeah.
Yeah, I have heard a few rumours of that as well. I think there's also an acceptance that, you know, with the strong push for equality across all levels in the ICC, that there is a... I know that Scotland would have loved to have been in the ICC Women's Championship. That's gone Zimbabwe's way. It's a thing for another day's discussion, but there is an acceptance that they need a top-tier associate women's competition. Maybe it might not be as holistic as the 36 ODIs that all of these 8 sides get to play, but even a little bit maybe like the Challenge League, at least once, maybe twice a year, come together, 6 teams, get some cricket in and help continue to expand the quality of the women's game.
Yeah, no, for sure. We definitely need some help. I think some organisations do really well in terms of getting fixtures, but I think ICC definitely need to put something on for us, even just to play a tournament that isn't a qualifier, so you can actually kind of play cricket without that added pressure and really build towards a qualifier. So hopefully that trophy is good.
Introduce some of the kind of younger players into the team, give them their opportunity. On the other positive side, that 12-team Women's T20 World Cup next year, that's going to be in England. You're probably you're younger than me, I think, but you'll certainly have remembered Scotland men going to the 1999 World Cup. What sort of age were you then?
Only 9, to be fair.
Do you remember it? Was that a thing? Do you remember, hold on, there's a World Cup just down south of the border and Scotland are playing cricket on the TV for the first time?
No, absolutely. And to be fair, we chat at length kind of as a squad about this World Cup, and it's almost a home World Cup for us in terms of how many players we've got playing in England. So it's definitely going to do our best to qualify, but I'm very, very aware that we don't have any fixtures, and all the other teams seem to have fixtures. Like Holland are playing against USA, like Thailand are playing games. So we're going to have to work really hard in the next few months to make sure we're ready for that qualifiers, because I've said it all the time that the qualifiers are hard. They're absolute dogfights, and teams are going to catch us up. Yes, we qualify for the last one, but we aren't going to be played as much cricket as the other teams in that time. So hopefully that we can still be ready. And
there's never a guarantee, is there, at any of these qualifiers? You're rightly saying, well, Scottish cricket and heartbreak at global qualifiers is almost a story as old as time. 2018, 2023 in particular for the men. Again, just trying to focus on some of the positive. I'm absolutely hearing what you're saying, Craig, and our thoughts. I know our thoughts to the viewers. For anyone who wants to get a message into Craig, please do drop that in now using hashtag CWCL2, and you can ask me directly at Cricket Badge Andrew Leonard. I'll try and get a couple of those questions quickly to Craig, as Depender Singh Hari does everything so fast it's hard for us to get a word in edgeways around his overs. I timed an over of his once at 68 seconds. 68, crazy. But on the positive side, that could be quite transformational if you can qualify for that Women's T20 World Cup next year. You think about, Leeds and Manchester in particular, only not that far south of the border, and then iconic grounds like Edgbaston, Bristol, Southampton, and then Lords in the Oval. Do you? I know you want to focus on qualifying first, but do you feel you could go to a tournament like that and really shake up the cricketing world in those conditions that, as you say, so many of your